What's up everyone, KingKrabz back again today with the final monotype of this DLC. And today we're going to be playing some Mono Steel. So this steel team might look a bit unmeta, not the usual steel type you see, and I will explain why in the team preview. So this team preview is going to be kind of a long one, so I have a linked timestamp down below if you want to skip straight into the battles. And with that, let's jump right into the team. So first member up we have Steelix, and Steelix is going to be a physically defensive Steelix who can really eat a lot of hits on the physical side. This is pretty good against some fighting Pokemon. It's especially good against ground Pokemon who can give my team some trouble, such as Choice Band and Excadrill. Steelix can potentially live one, especially with Sturdy. If I manage to get rid of their hazards, for example, or they don't have hazards up at all, Steelix is a very big threat to my opponent. Leftovers gives me more longevity, and we have full physically defensive and full HP, with a small bit of attack and minus speed nature. And the reason for that is I'm running Curse, so you can also run Iron Defense if you want the longevity against a lot of physical teams. Iron Defense is probably better. However, unfortunately, Steelix's attack stat is honestly kind of bad, so the Curse does help to patch that up while also giving it more defense. The the lack of speed also increases Gyro Ball's power, meaning this is usually 150 base stab, which is honestly very strong, even coming off only a 207 or maybe 300 attack stat. The increased defense also makes Body Press really strong, which is really good because Body Press is just a really good move for Steelix, coming off such a powerful defense stat, especially against things like opposing steel types, Excadrill for example, Magnezone, and just generally anything that isn't immune to it. And finally we have Earthquake for stab, and it's just generally quite a strong coverage move. I forgot to mention as well, Steelix in general is very good against the electric matchup, which is very powerful and very potent on the ladder right now, so that's pretty good. Next up we have Stakataka. And Stakataka is the typical Trick Room Stakataka. You've seen it before in my rock teams probably. I've used it a lot. I think it's really, really good. However, I've changed things slightly this time, so it is actually a specially defensive Stakataka with max attack and a minus defense lonely nature with exactly 13 IVs. Let me explain why this is in case you haven't seen my rock video. Beast Boost increases the Pokemon's highest stat by 1 after every KO. So at this exact stat spread, Stakataka has 1 point higher in attack than defense, which means it will always get a stage in attack after every KO as opposed to a stage in defense, while still having plenty of defense to live a lot of things. Now the reason why I pumped so much into special defense is because this can actually live a +1 Blacephalon's Flamethrower, which is really good because otherwise that absolutely tears through my team. And Stakataka being rock type is pretty much my answer to fire types in the team. So it can usually eat a rock type, which are generally specially offensive, hence the special defense investment. Set up a Trick Room and start reverse sweeping. So Trick Room allows it to easily click Stone Edge, which is stab and can cleave through so many fire types in the tier. We have Heat Crash for opposing steel types, especially things like Ferrothorn. It's really good for breaking through those. And finally Gyro Ball, which is just extremely strong stab, coming off its measly 31 speed, because it is stab, generally going to be about 150 base power as well, which is very strong. As well as that, Trick Room also kind of pairs well with Steelix, Melmetal, and Aegislash, and to an extent Ferrothorn, who are all quite slow, so it's going to be a slow, bulky steel team. Next up we have Jirachi, and Jirachi is going to be a specially offensive Jirachi with leftovers for a bit of longevity. And let me explain the stat spread briefly. This speed tier allows us to outspeed Nidoking guaranteed by 1 point, which is really important because at max special attack, Modest Nature, Psyshock I think has an 87.5% if I'm not mistaken chance of OHKOing Nidoking, which is guaranteed after entry hazards, which is really good because Nidoking can absolutely cleave through my team. We also have enough speed to outspeed Nidoking if we want to Calm Mind in its face, for example, in case we expect a swap. Moveset wise we have Psyshock, and Psyshock is just generally good stab because its other two attacks are especially offensive. It can prey on Pokemon with high special defense and low defense, such as Chansey and Blissey for example. Doom's Desire is essentially a more powerful steel type future sight, which is really good. Coming off a modest Jirachi, it's going to be very strong, and as well as that, be able to kind of control the battlefield. This is especially helpful because I have things like Trick Room and Staka, I have a Protect and King's Shield and Aegislash, so I can really scout for my opponent's intentions while controlling the battlefield and having a Doom's Desire come out when I need it. And finally, we have Moonblast, which is really good for dragons in the tier and the dark types in the tier. Now, a quick hint, when you're building Jirachi, I would always recommend Jirachi as shiny. And the reason for that is Moonblast can only be used on a shiny Jirachi. Even if you're not running Moonblast, I would recommend not giving your opponent any information about what you are running. So if you are running Jirachi who's shiny, it says this may or may not be Moonblast. If you are running Jirachi that's not shiny, it says to your opponent 100% this is not Moonblast. And Pokemon is a game about information, so make sure you don't give your opponent too much information. Next up we have Assault Vest Melmetal. And Assault Vest Melmetal is actually going to be kind of a secondary check to a lot of fire types in the tier. Especially non-stab fire moves Melmetal can generally eat and honestly won a KO because its attack stat is stupidly strong at 423. So this can easily eat things like Hydreigon or Dragapult's Flamethrowers or Fire Blasts and Revenge KO with a double Iron Bash. So the rest of my stats go into Adamant Attack, just to make sure I do as much damage as possible. And the Assault Vest makes sure this special defense is pretty nice. I think it's just a small bit over my defense. And its massive HP too is very helpful. So, double Iron Bash, there's not much to explain here. This move is stupidly strong. It's also boosted by my Iron Fist, so it can easily break through Sashes and Sturdies, substitutes, the 3S's I always talk about. And of course, in Trick Room with Melmetal, in Trick Room with Sakataka, Melmetal can potentially outspeed a lot of opponents too, and start to flinch them because it actually has 2 chances of flinching, ending in I think a 54% chance of flinching, if my math is correct off the top of my head. Next up we have Earthquake, and Earthquake is really good for hitting things like fire types, for hitting opposing steel types, just again generally very strong coverage to have. We have Ice Punch for the ground types in the tier, especially things like Lando and Garchomp, who can either eat double Iron Bashes or generally chip me away with Rocky Helmet or Rough Skin, so we want Melmetal to take as little damage as possible. And finally a Thunder Punch for the water types in the tier, things like Pelipper, which can give my team a bit of trouble, especially rain teams. Actually, one thing to mention here on Melmetal, if you want to run Healing Wish on Jirachi instead of Doom's Desire, it can be quite good too, because you can heal Melmetal back up to full HP, allowing it to basically take a second KO later in the game. Next up we have Aegislash, and it's going to be a mixed attack Aegislash, but quite a bulky mixed attack Aegislash, so you might be looking at this thinking, that's a weird looking Aegislash. And let me explain. I want to use Shadow Ball and Shadow Sneak to the best of the ability, but I don't want to compromise Aegislash's natural bulk. So I thought Spell Tag might be a pretty good use of it, and in testing, it does pretty well. So Spell Tag increases the Ghost attack by 1.2 damage. So Shadow Ball is going to be, I think it's 96 base before stab, which is really good, and Shadow Sneak is 52 base before stab, which is really good. Coming out from max special attack, Quiet Nature, it has a bit of attack as well, just to ensure Shadow Sneaks aren't too weak. And we're going for minus speed. This is kind of okay because it allows me to soak up hits with King Shield, which lowers my opponent's attack, and with its max HP in shield form, I can usually take about one special super effective hit, and then Revenge KO with a powerful Shadow Ball, or Shadow Sneak if I just need to do a bit of chip damage to break a weakened opponent. And finally a Flash Cannon for all the Pokemon that Shadow Ball doesn't hit, and it's just generally quite strong stab. I don't have too many steel attacks on the team, so I just wanted another one here. And last but not least, we have Ferrothorn, and this is especially defensive Ferrothorn, so normally I would say physically defensive Ferrothorn is better, but specially defensive is really good against water types, electric types, which are 2 types that are quite prevalent in the meta right now, and I found my team lost quite badly to those without Ferrothorn. Besides, we have a super defensive Steelix as well, so I needed a especially defensive Pokemon with good longevity. So with that, we have Leech Seed, which is good for longevity. It also is great team support, allowing me to heal up all my team if needs be. And I have Knockoff for team support as well. We have Protect, which is good for scouting. And finally, again, you're probably sick of hearing me say this, Spikes for team support. So this is a very supportive Ferrothorn. And again, we have Leftovers for longevity, and Iron Barbs is just helpful to chip away physical opponents, because we do have a lot of special defense, which means they're better off attacking me with physical attacks, which is going to actually do damage to them. So with that, we're going to go into the game, and first of all, I have to ask you who your favorite Steel-type Pokemon. So mine has to be Jirachi. I think it's a really cute design. I think it's a really fun Pokemon to use, and generally I've been a big fan of it ever since I got it with Pokemon Channel back on the GameCube. So before we jump into some games, I want to quickly say why I built a different team. As I said earlier, I did pretty well with the traditional Steel team, but I honestly wasn't enjoying it. and I figured I'd have a more interesting video if I was showing off a team I enjoyed playing, as opposed to one that's just meta, because you can find those anywhere, and they're not bad teams, they're actually very good teams, but it just wasn't my style. So I play all 18 types quite a lot, so hopefully you'll indulge me this and won't be disappointed that I'm not using a completely meta team. And let's see what I can do today, and with that, let's pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Psychic. Now this game can be a little bit on the difficult side. They do look to be Trick Room at times with the likes of Hatterene and Reuniclus, which is definitely a big issue for me. Aegislash is quite good here, as well as Melmetal, though I do have to worry about this thing. I have no dark types to eat it. Stakataka is a good counter to Trick Room as well, and I think we're just going to open up with Ferrothorn and try knock as early as possible. They go into Mew, and I'm going to try and get a cheeky Spikes down. They're Fire Blast. Okay, I did not expect that. Unfortunately, they also burn, which is not good for me. Huh. We'll go Melmetal here. I believe Double Iron Bash does a lot of damage to anything coming in. Bronzong could technically come in and eat this, but not too well. And even one layer of Spikes is quite nice. Okay, that didn't do much damage at all. We'll go into my Jirachi here and try to start Calm Minding up. And the reason for that is I think Doom's Desire is very strong in this game, especially when I have Calm Minds up. Mystical Fires shouldn't do as much damage. And I don't think there's much that Bronzong can do to damage me. I mean, Body Press did a lot. I won't lie. So I'm going to have to try and KO this thing pretty fast, because I have about 4 turns to live. Body Presses. I don't think Moonblast is going to do much damage, or Psyshock to be honest. We'll Moonblast. It does actually a decent chunk, and Doom's Desire should do a lot too. Nice. So having +2 special defense is actually quite helpful here. We might just about live a Mystical Fire from the likes of Hatterene or Indeedee. Indeedee comes in. Now, if it's Specs, I'll probably die to a Mystical Fire. If it's Choice Scarf, I do think we'll live, and Psyshock should KO here. That's Choice Scarf, I believe. Unfortunately, we just missed out on the KO, probably because of the special attack drop from the Mystical Fire. But either way, it's not too bad, because in this position, I can technically get Stakataka out and start clicking Gyro Ball afterwards, which does a lot of damage to their team. Now the question is, do I sack Jirachi? I think I keep it alive, and I sack my Ferrothorn. Get in my Stakataka here, and get my Trick Room up. Now this should start doing a lot of damage to their team. I am worried about Reuniclus. It's quite scary, though I think my Aegislash should be able to do a good chunk of damage with Shadow Tag, Shadow Ball. Nice. So if they give me a KO here, I get +1, which really puts the pressure on their team. This is the position I want to be in. Hatterene comes in. Gyro Ball's not going to be too strong, because I'm guessing this is min speed. So I'm going to go for Stone Edge, and of course it misses. I expect nothing more from Stone Edge. I'll trick him up again, because in this position I believe Gyro Ball picks up a KO. Nice. And they end up forfeiting, and with that we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Ground, and this one is going to be quite scary, I think. Obviously Ground is tough for my team, and we're going to have to play around it difficultly because we don't have a flyer on the team. Though things like Steelix, Stakataka and Ferrothorn are very good, and in fact I'm actually going to open up a Ferrothorn here and try to get Spikes down as early as possible to start pressuring my opponent. If they're Gravity on Lando, it's extremely scary, which is why I have a defensive Steelix. I find it an okay answer to a lot of ground types. Of course they don't love Spikes on their team, which I can use to my advantage because they don't seem to have any Rapid Spinners. They do have a Defogger in most likely Lando. But of course that does involve them getting rid of their own rocks as well, which is beneficial to me. Huh, this is Sand Rush, surely. So I'm going to protect and scout his intentions. If it's Swords Dances, that is so scary for me. They Brick Break. Interesting. We'll go Aegis. Please be Banded. And here we Shadow Ball. It won't get a KO. Depending on what they swap into, definitely things can tank this, but it should do a decent chunk of damage nonetheless. Honestly, that much damage on Hippo is more than happy to get. I'm going to Shadow Ball again. Oh, it's going to be a dirty roll. One I don't fancy, so I'm going to go into my Ferrothorn here. I think I value Aegis Slash too much in the endgame. And we're going to Seed, in case they try Whirlwind me out. They Body Press, that did so much damage, wow. That is a threatening Hippo. We'll Protect here, just to get some HP back. Mamoswine comes in. Again, we're going to Protect. Let's scout his intentions, because if they Earthquake, I can always go into Stacka. They Superpower. They're not banded, are they? There's no way they're banded. I'm about to eat an Earthquake. Ah. Deep down, I knew they weren't, but I didn't have it in me to make the play. So this is really bad for me. I believe Melmetal lives one. And we'll just click double Iron Bash here. I want to click Ice Punch, but it's not going to carry the Mamoswine. Swampert comes in. That's okay, I value some chip here. My endgame got a lot more difficult. I'm going to have to try and trick him up with Stack Attacka, which is easier said than done. Ooh, that did a lot of damage. And I'm going to have to Protect. And try get my seeds up here. Yeah, this endgame got a lot more difficult for me. It's unfortunate because I knew in my heart they wouldn't run Choice Band Exca and Choice Band Mamo, but I wasn't able to make the play. I'm actually going to Seed here again, because I think they're going to swap on me protecting. Into Lando, I value this being seeded quite a lot. We'll Protect again. They're probably Choice Scarf, if I was to guess. Now the question is, am I able to get in my stack and start setting up? Probably not, so I'm going to knock here. That did a lot of damage. Indeed, I got their Choice Scarf. I'll Protect again. Anytime they swap out, it's honestly somewhat beneficial to me because they are taking chip from the spikes, which is pretty good. And again, Melmetal is still really good here. The question is, who do I sack? I guess Ferrothorn has done its part. And them clicking Superpower is very good for me because it does lower their attack. My Ferro's down, exactly, finally. A part of me wants to set up with Steelix, but it's a huge risk, I think. Because I still think Mamoswine is quite powerful. I'm going to go to Melmetal here. And I'm going to click double Iron Bash again. Nothing particularly like swapping into this, especially because spikes are up. And I still value Steelix a lot for Excadrill, I believe. And if I can get a couple of KOs, I do think Stacka is extremely strong in the endgame. They might even swap out here, as they actually stay in. Okay, I get Mamoswine. Not a terrible choice for me. Of course they get a KO here. With Earthquake. Does Jirachi live in Earthquake? I really doubt it. Landorus, Choice Scarf. Oh no. Lando, Choice Scarf. Earthquake does 104 to 123. No, it does not live. So I have to go Stacka here and Trick Room. And then start spamming, I think, Gyro Ball or Heat Crash if Exca comes in. Hippo comes in. I don't even know if Gyro Ball KOs this percentage, honestly. Maybe it will. It is stab. They protect. No, there's no way I killed the 32. The chip recovery for them is big here, I think. Oh, they give me Swampert. So I can potentially get another KO here. They probably go into Hippo. They go into Lando. I mean, Gyro Ball might KO you. I still don't think I can beat Xcat and Garchomp, if I'm being honest. Are they giving me Excadrill? I mean, that's huge if they do. Obviously here I die to an Earthquake. There's nothing I can do about that. But how much does Steelix take? Earthquake does 42 to 51 at +1. 28 to 34. If I was Iron Defense right now, I think maybe I could have pulled the game off. But unfortunately, I'm running Curse. I have to Trick Room anyway. I know I lose to this. Does Body Press KO? Gyro Ball does 47. This could KO. Nice. Now, unfortunately, the only way I could possibly win is this being like some weird slow Garchomp, which I doubt it is. We'll Gyro Ball again just for some chip. Actually, let's check Garchomp. I think Body Press might even be stronger. Let's assume it's OU tank. Body Press is a hell of a lot stronger. No, that's too strong. It's Life Orb. Unfortunately, it's going to outspeed me and win the game. GG to my opponent. GG. Well played. And with that, we're going to... Oh, what? I mean, they still outspeed and win, right? Why bother swapping? I still lose. Well played my opponent's part. And with that, we'll pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Ice. Now, this is definitely a favourable matchup for me. You can't completely count it out because things like Darmanitan and Mamoswine can be quite scary for me. And we're going to open up with my Ferrothorn here, and I think we're going to try to get Spikes down early as they roar me out. Now, I don't want this balloon being burst, so I'm going to go back into Ferrothorn here. I don't particularly mind them trying to spin away with Avalugg because we do have Aegislash, which is very good. So here, I'm just going to Spikes up. In fact, I'm going to Seed something. Ooh, that crit hurt. So as expected, Avalugg comes in. We're going to try block their attempt here with Aegislash and just click Flash Cannon, which kind of picks up a KO. And we do have King Shield, just in case they want to try knock. I think they're going to go for an Earthquake. Let's scout their intentions. They do indeed go for Earthquakes. We go stack it here as they take and Kyurem. Good play. I have to be careful with that Mamoswine in the end game. So I think I want to keep my Staka intact. We'll go Jirachi here. It's the most expendable member of my team, I feel. And we eat an Ice Beam easy into a Doom's Desire. As always, you go Aegislash to block. And with the Doom's Desire up, it basically says something coming in is getting KO'd. We'll King Shield here. And that's Kyurem dead. So these spikes are nice. They just slowly chip away things like Mamoswine and Darmanitan. And probably Ninetales too. It's basically... I'm pretty sure it was in since Gen 3. Move. It's a really cool move, and I think Steel is quite a potentially strong coverage move, especially because Steel can really lock down the defenses. I feel that Doom's Desire is really nice to kind of control the battlefield like Psychic would. It's a really cool move. So this does put my opponent in a bad position, because if they try and take in this or Mamoswine, I can King Shield to scout their intentions. They're going for a Flare Blitz, so I'm just going to sack Ferrothorn here. I think in this position, it's done what it needs to do. Because they take a lot of damage in recoil. We're taking Steelix. And we're just going to click Gyro Ball. There's no point messing around, I want to get the kill. Avalugg comes in, we'll always go Aegislash here. They go into Mamoswine, that's okay. We again scout their intentions with King Shields. Earthquake, we always go Stacka. I'm going to go straight in Gyro Ball. Avalugg might come in. That still does some decent damage. And by the looks of it, they can't damage my Aegislash at all. This is fine. We can sneak and pick up the KO. And Mamoswine comes back in. Again, we'll King Shield their intention. It's always Earthquake, so we can always go and stack Attacka. And we'll click Gyro Ball again. And they're getting to the position where Mamoswine can't swap in for free. I think we're honestly just going to Stone Edge here. They body press and get a KO, that's okay, because we can take an Aegislash here and hopefully click Flash Cannon for game. GG. Well played on my opponent's part, and with that we'll be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Normal. Now this game can be threatening. Things like Diggersby are obviously a huge threat to my team, honestly as well as Exploud, and I have to be careful to play around the Ditto. I really like Melmetal here. I think I also really like Jirachi. So I'm going to open up a Jirachi here, and I'm going to Calm Mind turn 1 on what I expect to be a Fire Blast coming out. Indeed it is, and that is Specs. That is so strong. Now the question is, will Psy Shock kill? Probably not. So what I'm going to do is Moonblast and try get a drop. Nope, no drop unfortunately. Not good. I don't think I want to set up Stack Attacka too early. But am I forced to? Maybe I am. Melmetal can also get a kill here with Double Iron Bash. That is definitely Specs. No burn thankfully, and we get the KO. Now unfortunately Diggersby is a huge threat to me here, which is exactly what comes in. I expect them to want to try an Earthquake, so I'll go Stacka. I'm just going to Gyro Ball here. We're not going to play around with Trick Room in case they go into something like Snorlax. I value Diggersby being dead hugely in this game. Now of course they can go into Ditto here and copy me, which is not in my best interest, though honestly there's not too much they can do to me. They might try Heat Crash. I think I'm going to go into my Steelix, which should live most things they throw my way. Especially because it's my strongest physical tank. They go into Snorlax, interesting play. I'm going to Curse here, because I think we're going to go for a body press game. And Aegislash can always come in on the body pressing from Steelix. I'm imagining they're going for the same, but I'm pretty sure Steelix has much more defense. So hopefully I do more damage. They could also be Darkest Lariat, which is extremely scary for me. Oh, they're Darkest Lariat, that is scary. Though my body press is still doing a ton of damage, which is really, really good. It just goes to show how crazy good Steelix's defenses are. Indeed, he comes in, probably going to get a KO regardless. I'll Gyro Ball, just in the off chance I live. I did not expect to do so. And I can get in my Melmetal here. The question is, do I click Earthquake on the potentially Ditto coming in? I'm just going to click Double Iron Bash to get the KO. Nice. Now, of course, Ditto is going to be a threat and a half to my team. They probably want to Earthquake here, which is fine for me. I'm just going to Leech Seed, because right now I can start stacking spikes, which puts a lot of pressure on my opponent. I'm going to knock Blissey too. Oh, they have leftovers. I thought they'd be heavy duty boots, but I should have checked if they took spike damage. This is okay for me. This is a relatively favourable position, especially if I get my Leech Seed up. They are Wish. That's kind of concerning. Come on, Seed, I really need you. Leech Seed? No, Leech Seed, why do you do this? Okay, this is a very bad position because I'm going to need to swap out. Ah. And Staka can't swap in. We'll go Aegislash here. But honestly, I probably don't do much damage to it. All I can do is spam Flash Cannon. This is a really bad position for me. Now, just in case they want to swap into Ditto here, I'm going to Shadow Ball. Okay, so as it turns out, they can't actually damage me at all. Which is good to know. Though unfortunately they have so much PP. I'm going to kind of have to rely on drops. This is a really bad position for me. And Staka's HP is too low to eat 2 Seismic Tosses. We're going to risk going to Ferrothorn here. Just to get the leftover recovery. Protect, yes. So if Leech Seed lands here, it's so good for me. Please, Leech Seed, work for me. Okay, that's so good. Because I'm in the position now where I recover so much HP. And I can kind of spam Protect. Just to get some HP back. We always going to stack it here. And I think I click Heat Crash. In case they choose to stay in. They go into Blissey. Good play. But Heat Crash does a lot of damage, and Gyro Ball is probably going to do even more. This endgame is still pretty tough, because can I live a +1 stack with the rest of my team? It's extremely slow, so Aegislash does outspeed, I believe, even Paralyzed. But I'm relying on not getting Parahaxed, which I don't like. So I think I'm going to go into Aegislash here. On the Softboil, and then into Ferrothorn. To try get a little leftover recovery. And we're going to try land a Leech Seed again. They can only swap into Ditto so many times. Because they are taking a lot of spike stacks. They knock off my spell tag. Not ideal for me. But there's no way they stay in, because if they give me Ditto, it's much harder for them to win the endgame, I believe. Let's sneak here. As they go into Blissey, so they have to Wish Pass back into their Ditto. And even then, I feel like the spikes might KO them before it comes out. It does indeed, nice. So all I have to do here is land my Leech Seed, and I think I win the game. GG. Honestly, that was a very tough endgame. The paralyzes were very close, but we managed to pull through in the end. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Fairy, and while on paper, this game looks pretty easy for me, it's actually kind of threatening. Things like Azumarill, Tapu Koko are quite scary, as well as Togekiss. We're going to open up, I think, with Melmetal and just try immediately get a kill with double Iron Dash. Though I do think I value Melmetal being alive for the likes of Togekiss. Koko comes in. I'm going to go to Steelix here, actually. And try click Gyro Ball. Nothing coming in particularly likes eating Gyro Balls. That didn't do too much, but I can curse up here. Okay, if they bulk up in my face too much, do I just lose the game? No, I think... Honestly, I think Steelix wins this 1v1. Even against Woodhammer. Let's see how much Gyro Ball does. High horsepower doesn't do too much at all. And Gyro Ball does a chunk of damage. So I think this does force in their Togekiss, exactly. We don't even die to a flamethrower. Steelix, you absolute monster. Gleam KOs makes sense. I was at like no percentage there. Now Azumarill is honestly so scary in the endgame. So what I'm going to do here is set up the Doom's Desire. Oh, they're not choice specs. Into Ferrothorn. and start spike stacking. Mimikyu comes in. We're going to Seed. I think Seed into Knock. And we're going to do some Protect shenanigans, I guess. They'll probably read this Aegislash coming in. Oh, they didn't. Very beneficial for me. I'm going to go to Ferrothorn here. Ah, they read it. Great play on my opponent's part. Very, very great play. And Staka loses. Okay. They played that Mimikyu very well. I don't think I should have set up in its face. Very well played. Extremely well played on my opponent's part. I definitely got a bit, played a bit silly around this. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. Actually, Melmetal. Ah, I played this game so badly as well. GG. We take those though, we learn. And with that, we pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Ghost. This game is very threatening. Things like Blacephalon are extremely scary for my team, as well as things like Spectrier in the late game. I do value Aegislash a lot here, and Spike stacking is also pretty good, so I think I'm actually going to open up Melmetal. They probably Destiny Bond turn 1. I'm just going to go ahead and double Iron Bash and get rid of this. At least that prevents them from spike stacking, which is quite good, because my Steelix then can do a bit more work in the endgame. I'm going to go to Ferrothorn here. They go to Palosand. I will spike stack. And the reason I value spike stacking is because it weakens things like Blacephalon, potentially enough for Aegislash's Shadow Sneak to KO. Which of course is what comes in. I'm going to sack Jirachi here. And I believe Staka should live one. And we can Trick Room here. Nice. The benefits are especially defensive. We'll just get Gyro Ball. It doesn't even come close to KOing. Wow, that thing is bulky. This is not good for me. I'll try Spike again. Because I think I value damage on Blacephalon for Shadow Sneak. We'll knock here. Please don't burn. I mean, it's only a matter of time until they do. That thing is so bulky. I think a Shore Up comes here, so I'm going to go into Aegislash. Nice. I went King Shield just to get a small bit of chip. Into a Shadow Ball, which should drop this. Nice. Now, unfortunately, their team is still looking mighty threatening for me. Though the spikes should hopefully be doing their work. On Mimikyu, we can go into Steelix. It should live. I honestly think it should live to Shadow Claws. As they go into Spectrier. Did they die to this? No, unfortunately. It's quite close, but no. I'll Gyro Ball again in case they sub. They missed their Will-O-Wisp, which is huge for me. Can I put myself in a position where Aegislash can win a KO Blacephalon? I think Shadow Sneak should KO in this position. Aegislash comes out. I'll Curse turn 1. Into an Earthquake. That might KO. Though of course Mimikyu is looking kind of scary now. An Iron Head. Thankfully that does nothing. Blacephalon comes in. We sack Stakataka. Go into Aegislash and let's hope Shadow Sneak with the Shadow Shag kills. It does. Nice. Very good for me. We managed to take the game there. I think there's not much they could have done to Steelix with their Mimikyu. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Electric. In this game, Zeraora is honestly a big threat to my team, as well as Rotom Wash and Magnezone 2. This can be a difficult matchup for my team. I value Steelix a lot, and I honestly think Jirachi is pretty good in this game too, and we're going to open up with it. Now, unfortunately, my Doom's Desire isn't too strong here, but just dropping random Moonblasts and Shy Socks can be pretty strong. I think my Aegislash is the best answer to Magnezone. Let's hit timer here. They are probably going to open up Koko. Actually, Zapdos is a big threat to my team too. Such is the risk of playing a not very meta Steel team. Oftentimes I've seen Zero Aura and Blaze Kick, which really catches me off guard when using Ferrothorn, so I have to be careful of that. Trying to think what else is important in the end game. Aegislash is definitely strong. I feel Melmetal is strong, especially when I get rid of Rotom Wash and Zapdos, which they shouldn't give me an easy out for. Because then my Ferrothorn is almost unkillable, I think, if Zapdos is dead. So they actually lead with Rotom Wash, and honestly, I value Chip on this. We're gonna hit a Moonblast, I think, to try and drop their special attack. Unfortunately, even with Serene Grace, it didn't work, but the Chip is very much appreciated nonetheless. Now, they might go into Zone here, which is quite bad for me. Because then I am trapped. They do indeed go into Zone, and I'm most likely trapped. Let's check. I'm trapped. I guess we just spam Moonblast here to try and drop special attacks. That did so much damage, but it was because it was a crit. So why I think special attack drops are useful here is so that Thunders are less powerful, or Thunderbolts. But of course, Serene's Grace does not want to grace me with its Serenity today. Come on, get the drop. Nice. Body Press is doing a lot of damage, but I think I'm actually going to click Doom's Desire here. And the reason for that is I do believe my Aegislash should KO. And if they want to swap out, they have to eat a Shadow Ball and a Doom's Desire, which is decently strong. Now, unfortunately, they do outspeed me, but thanks to the special attack drop, they shouldn't do too much. So whatever is coming in here is eating a Doom's Desire, which basically says, Tapu Koko, you can't come in for free. Because that's the thing that wants to eat it the least. Zapdos comes in, probably clicking Heat Wave. I'll King Shield here, as I do value this. That did a lot of damage, 41%. Into a Shadow Ball is really going to hurt. And we just cling on with 1%. That's so good for me. Zapdos was a huge threat to my team. So Koko comes in. We'll King Shield just to waste one of their turns of Electric Terrain. And I think I'm actually going to keep Aegislash alive, either as a sack or a Shadow Sneak for Alolan Raichu. Grass Knot. Huh? Okay, we'll go for Earthworm here. We're going to knock something coming in. Honestly, knocking this is valuable. Because I can Seed here. And then start Spike Stacking. They probably go into Zero Aura, which I said earlier is a threat. But in this position, I always go Steelix. It should eat most things it throws my way. Oh, they go into Rotom. Good play. I think I'll always go back into Ferrothorn. The Wisp doesn't matter too much to me, and I'm actually going to try to get a Spike here, just to try and start putting pressure on Koko and Zero Aura. And if they want a Volt Switch, that's completely okay for me too. We'll go Steelix. Now they can always go back into Rotom here. Oh, they actually set up at a Substitute. That's quite scary. But I mean, I can just Earthquake. That's going to do no kind of damage. And we're going to Body Press here on what I think is Rotom coming in. That did a lot of damage. Back into Ferrothorn. If they defog, that's okay, because I can always Seed. And with their lack of leftovers, they're not getting recovery they need. And Steelix is getting the recovery every time I swap in, potentially putting me back in sturdy range. I mean, that's okay. I value sieging you. In fact, I value spikes here a lot. I expect a Focus Blast to come out. I'm going to go to Aegislash. If I mess up this read, it's quite sad because this puts me in a very good position. They go to Coco, that's okay. I mean, if you want to take more chip, I'm completely okay with that. Because again, I can always King Shield to scout their intentions as well as waste the Electric Terrain turn. I'll always go into the Ferrothorn here. In fact, I'm going to Protect again to waste a turn. They click Rising Voltage. I'm going to Seed. Do they not have Focus Blast? Why are they Grass Knotting? It doesn't really hit anything on the team. I guess maybe Steelix. But barely. GG. Okay, it looks like there's nothing they can do. And they end up forfeiting. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Ghost. Again, against Mono Ghost, I love spike stacking because it does put a lot of pressure on their team as they don't have defog. But they also have some serious threats like the likes of Poltegeist, Dragapult especially. So we're going to actually open up with this. We're going to knock Corsola at turn 1 just because getting rid of its Eviolite helps me so much in the endgame. And I honestly don't care if Ferrothorn gets burnt at all because I can still spike stack for free. I'm just going to go ahead and get all my spikes up here. They can of course Strength Sap me, but I can also swap into my Jirachi soon and just get up a Doom's Desire. Palt comes in. Now Palt is not good for me. I'm going to go to Melmetal here in case they Fire Blast. They Flamethrower. That's Specs. I'll double Iron Bash and hope that's a roll. Nice, nice. That's a huge threat to my team taken care of. Honestly, I value that so much. And the spikes are really handy against things like Poltegeist, especially because I have Shadow Sneak in the endgame. I think I always keep my likes of Steelix alive for Mimikyu, and potentially Runa Regis too. I'm not sure what it does. They go into Poltegeist here. I mean, there's no way they Shell Smash my face, right? That's crazy. So this dropped me, and that makes sense. I guess I can go into Pharaoh here. And get my last spikes down. And the reason for that is, even if they do Shell Smash up in my face, I still have Aegislash. I'm going to knock as well. They were Focus Sash. They might Strength Sap again, so I'm going to Leech Seed. Just to ensure I can do damage to it. As it honestly doesn't even do that much damage to me. I guess Ferrothorn has served its purpose in this game. I take an Aegislash and click Sneak. And honestly, these spike stacking are so good for me. Because everything's going to come in on much less HP. And the Spell Tag does increase the power of my Shadow Balls quite nicely. I quite like Spell Tag actually. I wasn't sure at first if I liked it, but it's really fun to be able to click Shadow Sneak and Shadow Ball on a mixed attacker without having to take Life Orb chips, so it remains quite tanky. So I don't know what their move here would be. Maybe if their weakness policy on Aegislash. That's scary for me. They go into Corsola. I mean, this shouldn't outspeed me. And we're just going to click Flash Cannon here, I think. Because I don't want to be Cursed Body on Shadow Ball, just in case. Aegislash comes out. This thing is a threat and a half to my team. We're going to go to Jirachi and sack it. I think it's the least valuable member of my team. As they go straight for a Shadow Ball. Let's just click Doom's Desire here. Okay. They're mixed. Good to know. I'll go straight in Heat Crush. I don't think they want to KO me here. Unless they're close combat, which they could be. They could be. But that opens up my Aegislash afterwards. They're King Shield. That's okay. Ah, their Sacred Sword. Oh, I live. That's crazy. Nice. And I think I can win the end game between these two Pokemon. This is scary for me. I'm going to Gyro Ball, expecting them to Strength Up. That just straight up KOs anyway. That's crazy strong. Now, Mimikyu can be scary, depending on its set. If it's like Drain Punch, which they often are in Ghost, Steelix has its work cut out for it. But I still think I can eat a few. Especially because I do not grant them the opportunity to Swords Dance easily. And Runa Regis, I don't know what it does at all, to be honest. So that is kind of scary. Though I do think my Steelix can probably live both Pokemon. So they actually go into Runa Regis here. The question is, do I value Trick Room? And the answer is, I don't know. Probably not, because I think Runa Regis is slower than Aegislash. I'll just Heat Crush here. Bit of chip. Okay. We're taking Aegislash and Shadow Ball. There's no way they're max speed, is there? That would be crazy. This should KO. It's Spell Tag, max special attack. Nice. Do I grant this the opportunity to Swords Dance in my face? I think I don't. I'm just going to Shadow Sneak and break its disguise immediately. And I think all I have to do here is Shadow Sneak. Force them to Shadow Sneak. Take Life Orb Chip, and Gyro Ball should KO here, I believe. Even after a Drain Punch. It does indeed. GG. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So that is going to be it from Mono Steel for today. Hopefully you enjoyed my slightly more unique take on Mono Steel. I think I did pretty well in some of the games, though I will admit I'm not as high on the ladder as most of my teams are in these videos. Hopefully you don't mind that. As I said earlier in the video, I don't particularly enjoy Steel. I don't particularly enjoy playing Meta Steel, so I wanted to try something different. But my ethos is always I will be in top 500 doing these videos to show you these teams can possibly make it there. It is the last of these types of videos I'll be doing for this current DLC. I do have plenty more ideas and plenty more projects in the works related to Monotype, so don't worry too much about that. But I want to say a quick thank you for all the support you've shown me on these videos. It's been a really fun journey. I've gone through all 18 types and I have so much more planned, so hopefully you look forward to those. So today I definitely played a bit, I could have played better at times. I definitely made some mistakes, especially against Mono Fairy. I kind of choked a bit, but hey, we live and learn from those mistakes. I think losing is a really important part of learning, especially in Pokemon, and hopefully you forgive me for those kind of mistakes. I'm not perfect, I'm still a human being at the end of the day. So with that, thank you again so much for the support you've shown me in these videos, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and take care everyone. I'll see you next time.